Hello and welcome to Neighborhood Watch. I'm your host, Michael Yanis. Today I'm joined by my friend Cameron DeMille. How you doing, Cameron?
Good. How about you?
Awesome. I'm doing great. So today we watched episode 115. We're keeping up as I mentioned last time, we got to jump around a bit, but we will cover them all eventually, all 4,000. Um, Before we get into it, though, Cameron, what's like your history with Sesame Street?
Um, I want to say I started watching when I was probably 3 or 4. I don't remember how often it came on, but when it did, I was there to watch it. And I
You're into
probably
it?
watched it, yeah, I probably watched it for a few years,
Okay.
just on like PBS.
Did you have a favorite? Did you like? I know a lot of kids are into Elmo. I hear he's big.
Yeah, Elmo was definitely my favorite. I had one of the little Elmo, I think it was like a Tickle Me Elmo or whatever.
Classic. Yep.
Yeah,
All right. So this
I don't
episode
really
was Kermit Croons Being Green, episode 115. First aired January 17th, 1970. Still a lot of the same things. The opening's still the same with those little clay monsters. Do you have any opinions about those little clay guys? They came up. They've been a very
know.
divisive.
I like I like that they kept it the same for all of these years.
Okay. So Gordon's still with us. Still the probably the best human character. Still sporting the mutton chops, real good. This time they're with the kids. His wife's there. Wife wants to go on a drive, so they don't have a car though. It's Sesame Street. Or they walk everywhere. It's a city
Well, I mean they decide because they don't have a car. They go with their imagination into
with the help of the
it.
kids.
Oh, with the help of the kids, of course. Without the kids, it wouldn't have been a very fun trip.
They're the fount of imagination.
Yeah.
You lose it. What age do you lose your imagination?
I would say the second you leave elementary school.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I think once they hand you that like worthless little like certificate, I think in that handshake you pass on your.
Yeah.
So they arrange their chairs into like a car little arrangement, and then we're taken into our first animation. More numbers. It's the return of Clumsy Chef. This time it's 10. 10's good because you get the whole thing. I like because I'm just in love with the sound of those kids singing. It's so good.
They I think those kids have perfect pitch.
I would bet on it.
Yeah.
Sesame Street, they went straight to the top.
How
So
much do
yeah,
you think they paid the kids?
I think they just gave him lunch.
Just lunch.
Yeah,
I
they
hope it
cost
wasn't like a fake lunch, like in the car.
right. So yeah, when we return, they've already eaten lunch. They've had their picnic. We don't see them eating. They're packing it up, and so we were a little concerned that maybe the lunch was imaginary too. Maybe add some dark undertones to this.
Yeah.
But that's all in our heads. During the car skit, we learned about stop signs. Got to see a lot of the good, improvisation by the actors.
He is Gordon is great
Yeah,
at
he's an old
improv.
pro at this point.
Oh yeah, it is. I forget that it's episode 115 by
Yeah,
now.
like he's always been good, but now he's at home on Sesame Street.
Yeah. Do they have an episode every day? Is that how they got to 115, or is that like 115 weeks worth of Sesame Street?
It would absolutely have to be one episode every weekday.
Okay.
Yeah, because I mean, with how much stuff they recycle, like that explains it.
Yeah.
Because we do see, not to get ahead of ourselves, but we do see the return of a couple animations. Not as many as the last episode. You can tell that like as they get more in the bank, like they don't have to repeat as often,
Yeah.
which I can see. But there are a few repeats. But I'm more positive than I was last time. Last time I was a little worried that they were going to be showing the same thing over and over. But there's enough new stuff to hear to keep me interested in 4,000 episodes. Okay, so uh, after that, oh, the stop sign. That's all. I guess it's like follow directions. That's the lesson there.
Yeah.
It's an important one. That's been a common theme as well. There was a follow the leader scene that we've seen before. Sesame Street definitely big into the submitting to authority. theme.
Yeah.
Then a new animation for O, just in our classic, like this weird, like surreal words that
Yeah.
sound like O. Lots of rhyming. Good stuff. Fun to look at. Very pretty. How do you feel about the animations in general?
Um, I really enjoyed the animations.
Uh huh.
I liked that it was so different from the style of the show.
Yeah.
I think it really had this contrast that, like you said, it kept me interested and it kept me drawn in, and I really wanted to watch. I wish that I could have seen a few more of those animations thrown in there.
Yeah, because they're just like short little bite-sized little bits of like flair. Um,
Yeah,
they're fun because as opposed to some of the live action stuff, let's be honest, it drags on a little bit.
yeah.
As much as I enjoy uh, uh, Gordon's Gordon's skills, he's only got so much that he can work with when it's three toddlers and a animal. But after that, we go into there's not one classic songs in this episode, but there's two. We see the debut of two classic songs.
Yeah,
The first one, "Who Are the People in Your Neighborhood?" It was a garbage man and a barber, I think.
yeah.
I was a little thrown off by the barber. I thought he was going to give him scissors. He gave him the like red and
The
white,
pole
the
thing.
spinny thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
I guess like no like sharp objects on set.
yeah.
That
You
can
wouldn't
only
want to cut up a puppet. Yeah,
that can only be my assumption. That was enjoyable. Uh, Definitely, I forgot that I forgot I knew that song, so it was nice to hear it again.
yeah. And the little description, I immediately knew what song that was gonna be.
Yeah.
Would I feel like wasn't that song on like Mr. Rogers? Was
I
that the name? I want to say I've heard it there before.
I'm gonna God, I'm so ashamed because Mr. Rogers is like totally my thing. I don't know if that ever made the jump. Like it totally sounds like it. There was definitely a neighborhood song.
Yeah, there was a neighborhood song.
I don't remember if it's that exact song or not. Now I gotta find out afterwards. Um, Maybe that's our next project. Every Mr. Rogers. I would be into that big time.
Absolutely.
But let's not. We got our work cut out for us. After the people in your neighborhood, there was a weird, probably my least favorite animation yet. The two dudes on top of the V. I don't know if you
They're
were.
yelling at each other. Yeah.
That was the first issue. Is the yelling was it was not enjoyable, and they were really the most pointless animation that I've seen yet. Like you don't really learn anything. They're just standing on top of a V yelling things vaguely like tangentially related to V.
Yeah, like he I can name 10 things that start with the letter V, and then it cuts, and he doesn't name any of the things.
Not a single thing. Luckily, the old V animation is there to save the day. Uh, the one that I've seen before, Cameron. This was new to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they threw in another quick one of just this one. It was novel just in how short and to the point it was. It was the violin like little quick clip. A dude just
Yeah.
says a dude just says violin, and that guy tries to play the violin. He cuts it in half, and then the word violin is said, and then it's over. It's about 10 seconds total.
Yeah.
There was the bit about the license plates back with Gordon. He's talking to his kid, explaining about license plates. Gordon goofs up a little bit in this scene.
Yeah. Slight mistake.
Like I'm totally for the easygoing, carefree attitude that we're taking with these live action scenes. But come on, Gordon. If you can't remember which way you're flipping the license plates, come on, man. Care about care about your work. Another thing that like I can see where they're trying to make a connection between these scenes, but it's a lot more tenuous than it has been in the previous episodes. I don't know if you noticed because you did make a comment that like the transitions between each of the things are a little abrupt.
Yeah, they're like to the point where if they paused for like another second, it would have seemed fine. There would have been no big deal. Or like later in the episode, he brings up what does he say? Where he kind of transitions. He says something, and then it goes to the next slide.
Right.
Like he
So
mentions Ernie, I think.
yeah, so that's the thing is in the previous episodes, it's been a lot more fluid, or like there was like more of a storytelling arc to it. Now it's just there'll be a scene, and then the very last line of the scene will be, "Oh, hey, look, I see a letter off in the
Yeah.
distance," or "Hey, I wonder what Ernie is up to."
And sometimes we didn't even get that. It was just straight
Yeah,
end of the scene, no pause, beginning of a new animation or a
yeah.
new scene.
Like you can see where the writers were trying at it. Like they started in the car, then they went to license plates. The license plates had letters on them. Like it's a good attempt. I'm sure it made sense on an outline, but
Yeah.
as they were filling it in, kind of lost the thread.
Yeah.
Right?
You you brought that up, and I didn't even realize that the cars were related to the license plates
Yeah, no, I
because
only
of how abrupt the transitions were.
I only put those two together when they're sitting next to each other in my notes. I
Yeah.
do take diligent notes during each of these. It should be noted in your notes, which I assume you are taking, listener, during
Yes, I
these.
did in fact take notes. I mean, it took me like 5 minutes before I was like, oh, okay, this is long enough that I'm not gonna be able to remember everything. I need to put this stuff down.
Yeah. All right. So after that, our first animal. There's two animals in this episode. Gordon has become a real nature boy. What was it? It's like a bear, some sort
Oh,
of
it
like
was
koala,
a honey bear.
honey bear. Yeah, he calls it he calls it a swinging honey bear to to our delight and the children's, perhaps for different reasons. The honey bear eats a banana for quite a long time, really just going to town on that nana.
That was really that whole scene. Besides maybe like Gordon trying to fill noises in,
Yeah,
trying to
Gordon's.
make sounds and talking, it was really just this bear eating a banana.
There were words related to a honey bear and banana, but as far as filling for time, I'm giving Gordon a C on this one. Just doing the bare minimum. Uh, and that's it. And here we have another one of the very tenuous transitions. He said, the honey bear, boy, he really likes this banana. Ernie really likes cookies. And then cut to Ernie's basement. He's got a glass of milk. No cookie. He's got to go get the cookie. Um, if you're as on point as we are, you too have figured out what's going to happen in this scene. Um, I'll give you some time to, in Sesame Street style. Here's a little time. Figure out what's going to happen. Ernie walks away from a glass of milk. What's going to happen on Sesame Street? Cameron, have you figured it out?
The Cookie Monster is gonna come,
How'd
obviously.
you know that? How'd you know that?
Cookies, Cookie Monster. The cookie
Oh,
is
it's
in
his
the name.
name. Oh, it's his name. Oh, I thought that was like a family name that you just like. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Uh, he drinks the milk is what happens, and then Ernie, not so hot on that. He doesn't see it happen, so he goes back. I gotta get more milk. Cookie Monster eats the cookie. Stupid Cookie Monster.
Yeah, Cookie Monster's a jerk.
Yeah, he's a good character. Like he's maybe right next to Kermit and Bert. I like a lot of the puppets. I gotta admit.
Yeah, they have very nice personalities. They all
Yeah.
fill their role well.
Oscar too. Oscar's very good. There's a very good scene with Oscar later. Um, but yeah, the scene plays out. You know, Ernie. The good bit is when Cookie Monster is thankful to Ernie, and Ernie's not having it. Cookie Monster's getting real lovey-dovey. Uh, it's some good physical comedy with hands inside puppets. Big Bird makes an appearance in the next scene during uh, still dumb. Big Bird's still dumb. That is still his thing. I thought that would change, but apparently that is a continuous character trait. He's drawn some pictures. What is Big Bird?
uh, he is he's
I
a
mean,
bird with
avian for sure. It's in the
yes.
name. Large avian creature. Is
I
there
would
any?
characterize him as dumb and scary.
Yeah,
He's frightening to me.
you were not you were not fond of his design.
No, I think it was his eyes, really. And I mean, the fact that he was like 2 feet taller than Susanna or Susan. What's her name? Is it Susan or Susanna? I can't remember.
It could be anything.
Yeah.
To be honest, I've not learned anyone's name besides Gordon. So yeah, Big Bird, he's drawn a collection of pictures, each one, and it's sort of like a timeline little puzzle that we've got to put together. I did not trust Big Bird's ability to succeed at this task, given his history. Let's be honest.
Well, I actually haven't seen his history
Hmm.
since this is my first episode. I really don't know how dumb he was in the last two.
Yeah, it is a little more downplayed in this. What's happening here is a lot more just sort of playful dumbness between the actor and Big Bird. I'd say, are you sure that goes there? I don't know. That sort of thing. I'm sure the kids like it. Whatever. It's not for me. None of
Well, I mean,
this.
in the end, he gets it right. So
He does, yeah. He gets both of the puzzles right. There's like a baseball one and like a painting one.
yeah,
So good on him. A plus, gold star for Big Bird. And then the return of another classic skit, 3 for 3 on this one as well. Billy and Joe are back. Is it Joe? Jeff? Jim? Billy and Jim. Billy and Jim are back. Classic. Can't forget them. Unforgettable. More shoe troubles this time. You weren't there. They had shoe troubles last time, getting big shoes in a big box, little shoes in a little box. These guys really struggle with footwear, apparently.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's tricky. I used to have trouble. I didn't learn to tie my shoes till I was, I think, in the second grade.
Yeah, I was similarly late on that train as well. Thank God for slip-ons, man. No
Yeah.
shoelaces, no
Those
problems.
Velcro Skechers,
Yeah,
those were the best.
top notch.
With the lights and stuff.
Oh yeah. Get some good brands on there. Got
Yeah.
yourself some winners. So Cameron, how many different ways do you think there are to wear shoes incorrectly? Well, don't answer that because Buddy and Jim have found more ways than you are about to say. They have found so many ways that there is not time to accurately solve this. Just when they've reached the point that the shoes are on the correct feet, the socks are underneath, everything's correct, they tie them together. It feels very much like the director has given up as the scene just fades to black with no resolution on the shoelaces tied together. So that was a nice saving grace of another Buddy and Jim scene that has gone on too long. A lot of the live action scenes are filling time in a way that it's rubbing me the wrong way.
Like, the show could probably be closer to like 40 minutes, 45 minutes.
Almost definitely,
Yeah.
it would benefit, and then they wouldn't have to recycle. It's a little baffling that it's an hour long. Next is Bert and Ernie. They're back. There's similar antics. Ernie's being weird. Bert's not having it. But of course, Ernie's looking for the phone. It's ringing. He's looking through a pile of stuff. None of those things are phones. Come on, Ernie.
My favorite was of course, the banana. When
Yeah,
he pulls the banana out of the box. Yeah.
this is the classic Bert and Ernie twist, where Ernie does indeed hear something coming through the banana, and as he passes it to Bert, who hears nothing, he answers the phone, and well, I don't want to spoil it. We're gonna save that one for you as a treat for you kids.
Yeah.
Watch it yourself to see just how they turn that one on its head. Then we go to another puppet scene. Oscar, he's down. He's not happy, but it's not for the traditional reasons. He's unhappy because he has nothing to be unhappy about. And how do you solve that?
Well, you find something to make you unhappy.
Well, where would I go for that? They don't sell unhappiness at a store. Like, I don't know any unhappy people. I'm the unhappiest person I know by far.
Well, you've clearly forgotten the Dial a Grouch.
What's that number? Do you want to just play out the rest of this? Do you just want to give our audio radio show interpretation. So he calls the dial a grouch. The number is indeed
987 654 321.
which I as they read it out in number form, I was like, oh man, I'm gonna write this down so I can call it on the show. It'll be a good goof. It seems to be a wrong number. He gets the wrong guy. It's a good twist. He keeps it up well. He plays the part well. Gordon is just hanging out at the side like he does with a lot of the puppet skits, just watching the puppets, talk to no one. I enjoyed that part. So yeah, Dial a Grouch is good. Oscar continues to be very charismatic and sympathetic, in my opinion. Still orange, by the way. You're a little thrown off.
I don't like it. Looks like someone vomited all over him.
It does. Coming out of the trash can, it does not help his image.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll be seeing that go away in the coming 100 episodes or so. After that is Roosevelt Franklin. This puppet has a full person name.
This was my favorite part.
Really?
My favorite skit of the entire episode, yeah.
The song and everything, the dance.
Yeah, as Gordon would put it, this was really swinging.
The puppet dance is very good. They work the camera well. He's singing. It's another number song. You're learning your numbers by the ages. Some maybe a little lazy in the lyrics department, rhyming 3 with knee. But I appreciate the effort, and it was very sincere. Roosevelt Franklin gets a A+.
Yeah, I hope to see him back soon.
And then the legendary, timeless classic. You recognize the scene as soon as it starts. We got silent as we saw it to take it in. Kermit's in the middle of a forest, a dark little forest set, and he spills his pathos out for us.
Yeah.
It's not easy being green. Song still holds up. It's still a very good song.
Yeah, I thought this was the most meaningful part of the episode. Things got kind of deep.
Yeah, it's a good...
I interpreted it as he's saying green, but in reality, this is kind of like a, colored people type thing.
Right.
Just because of your color, I mean, you can still be who you want to be regardless of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was, I think, the message that the song was trying to portray.
Yeah, it's a good... I always like things like this in shows like this, where, apparently where one of the writers, one of the creators has some sort of spark of genius, and he thinks, I've got to get this into the show. I know it doesn't match the rest of the tone, but right in the middle of this goofy show, there's a little heart.
Yeah.
A little creativity, a little earnest. It's very nice. But then cut to a turtle. Just a full screen shot of a turtle, and Gordon doing his best turtle impression. Slowly, lethargically, I'm gonna say. I'm sorry, Gordon, but you are not. I get the thematic symmetry that you're going for in being so slow with this, but he's just describing a turtle. It's not a tortoise. Don't get him confused.
Yeah.
Cameron, do you remember what separates a turtle from a tortoise?
Turtle is on land, and tortoises, they live in the sea, and they swim.
Have you literally gotten it backwards?
Have I? I honestly don't remember.
This is the problem with Gordon's delivery. It may have well been the other way around. I'm no amphibiologist, but one thing's for sure: this scene has no value. I'm not a fan.
And do all turtles / tortoises look that upset? That was an angry reptile.
I'm not so good at picking up emotions from animals, but I believe that was a particularly disinterested turtle. After that, E for egg. That was another 10-second, the violin scene. That had a good payoff as well, the punchline to that one. If an ostrich coming out of an egg, it says moo. The rhythm of it is very, very good. Whoever's doing those little bits, whoever's the creative force behind those, they've got good comedic timing.
Yeah.
to make that work. Then we see another Eve video. This one I've seen before. You were a big fan, especially just of like the look of it.
Yeah.
It had this like watercolor pastel, very nice to look at.
Very pretty, very very surreal, kind of like
Juxt-
yeah.
Juxtaposed to the next immediate skit entitled "Noises."
Now this total contrary to the meaningful Kermit the Frog song that we heard earlier. This no meaning whatsoever. I
This
don't
is
know
a
what to make of
farce.
this.
This is outrageous. Um, that a little kid is going on a walk with his mother, and you see in his hand he's got some sort of like eyewear glasses. So it's not like normal looking glasses. They've got like tubes on them. They're like rainbow colored. And
Like in National Treasure, the Benjamin Franklin glasses that he finds at some point.
yes,
They're the red. They were like that, but 70s ish.
yeah,
They're kind of hip and stylish.
yeah. I would actually compare it to if Fisher Price made Benjamin Franklin glasses. That's what they would look like. But when the kid puts them on, he puts them on in response to hearing a sound. And when he puts them on, it doesn't. I thought where this was going, it was just like he puts them on and it's fun and he sees the thing. But no, it makes the thing appear. It's not exactly the mechanics behind this. I'm sure it's explained in like expanded universe novels, the exact mechanics behind these magic glasses, which are clearly like the most powerful item. These are the infinity gems of the Sesame verse. um, when he puts them on, it's not clear if it reveals invisible things or if it like procures them out of thin air. Either way, there's some slick editing as things like an ice cream truck, a bicycle, a bird just materialize. it's the most not it's out there as far as most things have a clear lesson attached to them. This one is perhaps it's an imagination stimulant, if you want to call it that.
I had to dig deep, but the lesson I got is if you're having trouble seeing things but you can hear them, maybe you need to talk to a licensed physician to get some to get some glasses.
That's good. I'm glad you've dissected this to find the nugget of truth hidden within this ridiculous scenario.
Yeah.
After that, the glasses make a return. This is if you thought that this was like just a one-off thing, no, these things are a part of this universe now. Ernie's got cookies again, but Cookie Monster's there too. Still hidden from view. That's gonna be. This has got to be a recurring gag. The Cookie Monster. He's so sneaky. If he could just learn to eat without making such a racket, Cookie Monster would be fat and happy. But unfortunately, Cookie Monster he's got the glasses, the magic goggles, and he gives them to Ernie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And when Ernie's preoccupied with the glasses, chows down. Ernie doesn't see it because he's off looking away, and he eventually finds Cookie Monster. He's guilty, obviously. Who else do you think? These puppets never learn. That's for sure. Very bad lesson. Pattern recognition, Ernie. Come on. And then he gives him the glasses back for an unclear reason. Cookie Monster eats those too. But I do anticipate a return of the magic glasses sometime in the future. We'll have, yeah. We have another just, oh, look, I see some letters in the distance. Let's spend about 5 minutes detailing letters. It's indeed.
It's not letters per se. I mean, I wouldn't say that the skit itself is about the letters. It's about the use of the telescope.
It is, yeah. But then that brings me to another problem with this is in the previous episodes, you could draw a line from the beginning skit to the end. You could like see how one thing led to another. How they ended up at telescopes, I have no clue. And I appreciate you've got to branch out to new things. I understand, like, it's going to be harder to teach new things and tell a cohesive story as you've already told 114 others.
Yeah.
So, like, what haven't we taught yet? How a telescope functions.
There was no overarching theme for this day's episode.
There absolutely wasn't. The closest they've always got their fallback, the sponsors for this episode, EOV and 10, if you're keeping track at home. And then, and then, maybe the best skit to make use of repetition, the one that didn't get on her nerves at all whatsoever, was Ernie's package scene. The mailman comes. He's asking Ernie for help. He doesn't know where this package goes. So he asks, do you know who this person is? Do you remember the name, Cameron?
Mary Ann. Last name ABCDEFGHIJK LMNOP QRSTUVWXYZ.
Now imagine how funny it would be if I continue to ask for specificity regarding this individual, perhaps a dozen times, let's say. That is the crux of the scene. But it's saved at the end. I mean, it's a good goof. I get it. It's delightful. It's a classic. You repeat a long thing. But it ends with her occupation. You can guess it, right? She's a teacher. She's a spelling teacher. And of course, like she lives next door to Mr. Leonard 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's not a math teacher. He's a music teacher. So I like that that's going to be a thing. I'm probably going to grow tired of it. I'm going to grow tired of literally everything, but it's still got the magic of a Bert and Ernie scene that ends with a little twist.
Yeah.
So that was the end. There was no little wrap up at the scene. There was a little stinger at the end after the credits of Gordon giving the
like a warning to the kids.
Yeah. Don't call Dial Grouch. This is the equivalent of ask your parents' permission before going online. This is don't use your parents' phone to dial 987654321. That's probably like a long distance number anyway. You can't get it. So what you think, Cameron? This is your first episode that you've seen. Are you going to now watch a bunch more on your own time?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
For sure. I mean, coming in, I was just expecting another crappy, boring kids show. But in the end, I found that I was laughing a lot more than I thought I was going to.
Yeah.
And in the end, I really actually enjoyed watching it. And this is something that I would definitely do again.
Yeah, it's like a lot of things that I find as I buy into it, I say, I'm watching Sesame Street. I'm going to enjoy what Sesame Street has to offer. I'm entirely capable of doing that.
Yeah.
It is not dull and dumb enough to where I can't, put aside maybe my refined tastes in humor, let's say, as an 18-year-old individual. I can say, hey, Ernie saying the alphabet for the 7th time. It's kind of funny still.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thanks for joining me, Cameron. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you for having me on, Michael.
We'll definitely do this again very soon.
I hope so.
But for now, this has been Neighborhood Watch, and we'll catch you next time.